Welcome to A White Woman in Distress. I'm Amber, your host, and this is a special mini-series dedicated to unknown persons. Over time, remains have been found or bodies of those who are remembered only as Jane or John Does. These nameless victims, the unidentified souls who left behind stories that have yet to be told. In each episode, we'll explore the details of their disappearances, any mysteries surrounding their deaths, and the efforts to uncover their identities. Though they may be forgotten by many, we are here to shine a light on their cases. If you recognize any of the photos or details, please reach out to the local FBI, name us, or your local authorities. This content may include sexual assault, murder, violence. Listener discretion is advised. Please hang out, tag along, and let's get started. Today's episode takes us back to the 1930s in Cleveland, Ohio. It is a time and place that became defined by fear and mystery due to the reign of the Cleveland torso murderer. Among the killer's presumed victims is a woman we only know as Victim 8. She is an unidentified African-American woman whose life was tragically cut short. She may have been forgotten by history, but today, we're here to remember her story and uncover what we can about the life that she may have lived. The discovery happened on June 6, 1937. Beneath the Lorain-Carnegie Bridge in Cleveland. Sorry if I mispronounced that. It was here that workers stumbled upon a decaying burlap sack. Inside the burlap sack were skeletal remains. They were badly decomposed, but they still carried clues about the person that they once belonged to. Next to the sack was a newspaper dated June 1936, suggesting that the victim had been deceased for about a year before her remains were found. Through forensic examination, experts were able to describe her as an African-American woman who was petite, standing at just 4'11", or possibly a little shorter. Her hair was black, curly, and kinky. She is thought to have had some unique facial features, including a wide nasal passage and the bony ridge in her upper and lower jaws that contain the sockets for teeth, and a condition where the upper or lower jaw protrudes beyond the normal range of the face, which one detail that stood out above all was her dental work. She actually had extensive gold crowns, which is a detail that seemed to shine light and hope of identifying her, but despite this distinctive feature, her name still remains unknown. Investigators pursued several leads, and one name quickly emerged: Rose Wallace. Wallace was a 40-year-old African-American woman who had disappeared in August of 1936, just months after the newspaper found with the remains that was printed. Her son believed that the remains were his mother's, recognizing her dental work. However, science in the 1930s wasn't what it is today, and the dentist who had performed Wallace's procedures had passed away, so there was no official dental records to confirm the match. Dr. Samuel Gerber, the county coroner, and Sergeant James Hogan cast doubt on this identification. They argue that the remains had been in the burlap sack for at least a year, placing the victim's death in June of 1936, months before Wallace's disappearance. The timeline just didn't simply align, but not everyone was convinced. Detective Peter Marilow firmly believed that the victim was Rose Wallace, and the disagreements among investigators only added to the case's complexity. Okay, so the torso killer's methods were just completely chilling. He decapitated and dismembered, often leaving bodies in advanced stages of decomposition or chemically treated. At least 12 victims were officially linked to this killer, though some investigators believe that he could have had many more, with murders spanning as far as Pittsburgh and Youngstown. In the case of Victim 8, investigators explored another lead, a newspaper advertisement for a performance by the Nils T. Gauntland Girls at the Palace Theater in June 1936. Detective Orley May reached out to the theater manager, who had confirmed that that group had performed in Cleveland during that time, but none of the performers were reported missing, leaving yet another lead cold. Today, Victim 8 remains unidentified, and her connection to the Cleveland torso murderer remains an enduring mystery. What we do know is this: she was someone's daughter, someone's friend, perhaps someone's mother. She was a person whose life mattered. Even if her name has been lost to time, this case reminds us of the countless lives that vanished into the shadows of history. People whose stories deserve to be told and remembered. If you have any information, even after all of these years, please contact the County Coroner's Office at 216-721-5610 or 216-698-4267, referencing Victim 8. Thank you for listening to this episode of A White Woman in Distress. As always, we aim to shine a light on those who cannot speak for themselves. Let's continue to advocate for justice and bring these stories attention. Especially, let's keep spreading all of the stories that deserve to be told. Stay safe, and remember, if you see something, say something and do something.